Good morning. How are you today? Well, it's a sunny day and it's brisk, but it's acceptable. Looking back on this year and how it is that we managed to win or Trump to lose, given Trump's character, perhaps there was no other way this could work out. I say there are three major things that strike me. The first category is Trump interfering in both the 2016 election and the 2020 election. The latter interference having to do with favors, trying to get the Ukraine to investigate Biden's son to compromise Biden's efforts to run for president. That resulted in his impeachment. So I think that's number one. That happened at the beginning of this year, even though the events happened last year. The second thing that happened is the virus. Now, it happened, and normally you wouldn't be able to hold somebody accountable for something like that. But Trump concealed from us how dangerous it was and lied to us, basically. And as a result, people died. He lied, people died. So I think that's the second big factor, and that's a factor that runs all the way through the year. The third factor is justice and equality. We had demonstrations across the country, and there are two parts to those demonstrations, in my opinion. One is, are we equal before the law or not in an administration that plainly thinks that he, the president, is above the law? Now, Trump made this all a one-man band, but in doing so, he did two things. One, he resisted any reforms as proposed by Congress or anyone else that would have dealt with that issue, at least shown that he cared to deal with that issue, and he didn't. The second thing is he basically encouraged violence in America. So those three issues strike me as important in his downfall, righteously important in his downfall. Now, some may ask, why didn't members of the House or the Senate suffer? And the more I think about it, the more I think that they were better able to separate themselves from Trump for these offenses. And there are members that stand out, but take one of the most visible ones, Lindsey Graham. He did well there. Now, we can analyze why, but that's not my concern right now. And of course, we had Mitch McConnell. He's right there in the bad place. Some might think there's a fourth factor, and that would be the Supreme Court nomination of Barrett. And I think that was a factor as well. So what do we have going on right now? Well, the House yesterday did two things that are important, one more than the other. They overrode the veto of Trump for the defense bill. The second thing they did, which I've quarreled with, is Congress passed a $2,000 stimulus. Now, again, we're talking about kind of a third rail in this political year. It's about the virus, and that's what that's about, giving people more money in the middle of that crisis. Now, this is right after, of course, Democrats and Republicans agreed that $600 was the best they could do. Now it goes to the Senate. It's interesting that it's in the Senate in this way because it does give a problem to Moscow Mitch. Is he going to bring it to the floor at all? Is he going to let it come to the floor and fail, giving some senators like Perdue and Loeffler an opportunity to vote for it to help them in their campaign while defeating it, rather than have Trump come back and say, well, I had all these other conditions. It wasn't just the $2,000, which is what you know he'll do. The underlying political game here, it seems to me, has a lot to do with Georgia. And forgive me for saying Florida. For some reason, I think I just linked that back to the Gore race, and it's different, but I can't explain it otherwise. So I apologize to those when I said Florida yesterday. So in the Georgia race, you have two people Loeffler and Perdue, both of whom told the public not to worry, but took the information that there was a problem and profited from it. How do you get past that? Now, they say they voted for the stimulus bill. Okay, that's right and good. If the $2,000 comes to the floor, will they vote on that? And will that hurt them in the election in Georgia? Now, the polling in Georgia, there are a couple of things to say about that. One, it's within a percentage point, so I'm not sure it's effective. I don't know if you can say anything from that. Some polls have Democrats up by 4 and 5 points, so there's that. But there's a very tense ground fight about who's going to get votes. There were 2 counties that Republicans sought to suppress the vote, more than 4,000 votes, and the reason they claimed was because a report by the Postal Authority indicated that some of them had moved. Now, the judge who got this just before Christmas voted on it last night, or decided it last night, and she decided that those votes could go forward. It gives you some idea how intense it is. It's made a little more complicated because she has connections to the Democrats. So they asked her to withdraw on a conflict, and she did not. So the good news is we won. The other good news is we're going forward. Biden is fighting for access to the information he needs to be our next president. And I think we're in a good place right now. It'll be very interesting to see what the Senate does and what happens with Loeffler and Perdue, the 2 Republicans in Georgia. All the best. Have a good day. Bye-bye.